this is very true of someone like Elvis Presley, because all Elvis Presley wanted was money. And when you get money, then you stop having your vision. But the Beatles have got an incredible vision. Money, you know, they got that ages ago. They don't think about it anymore. Now, they don't put out as much, because to get the quality, to get something really great, it takes a really long time. And they work for ages to get those things.
Apropos the Royal Court and the Three Sisters, there was an outcry at the time because some people said that the audition was rigged, and it was very interesting in that at least 2 newspapers printed an apology about this afterwards, admitting that it wasn't so.
No, it wasn't.
How did you feel at the time of actually having to go and be auditioned and fight against, how many was it, 30 other girls?
I didn't have to do that. I don't know when he auditioned the other girls, but I didn't see them. But he auditioned me in fact twice. It was, I got more than they got, you know, more grilling than anyone else, because he auditioned them all, and then he auditioned me, like, you know, and then he still didn't know what he wasn't sure at all. And he auditioned me again, and this time really hard, like he made me read it. And then he was, you know, it was such a decision for him. It certainly wasn't anything like that. I didn't go through a thing of sitting waiting with 30 girls, you know, if that's what they call an audition. But I went through a pretty strange experience.
How are you at auditions and camera tests? Are you more nervous at that sort of occasion than when you actually get down to filming or cutting a disc?
I hate it. I don't mind, I mean, I don't mind auditions on the theatre, but film tests, I hate them. I don't want to do them, I hate them.
Is this because you feel that you're being, as it were, manipulated?
Yeah, and they don't, it's just so different in movies. You feel all the time they're using you. Not everybody. I know not everybody. I know there are many people that are really beautiful in movies, but there really are a lot of people that are just using, and it's all part of it. And probably because I've done so many film tests where I never got the part, you know, and it's just a drag for me. I'm sure, and I've always found this, that the things that I have actually done have always been something of contact.
And I get the feeling, and the parts in which you yourself, your own character...
Really want, yes, that's absolutely true, yeah, because the things I've got tested for are things that in my heart I knew I didn't really want to do. And they must know that, however much I pretend I want something. It's probably, you can see that I'm not, this isn't my scene, you know, these things I was going to do, they must have known that they weren't my sort of thing.
If you are therefore as reliant upon your own, what you can invest in a part and what you personally can give, rather than, as it were, take a characterization from outside and superimpose this on your own personality, do you feel that there might come a time when Marianne Faithfull as such is overexposed?
No, it's not my own personality. It's the things, it's my ideas I want to find something in common with. It's the things that I think about. It's not, I mean, it's not my own habits or way of looking. I don't mind being anything. I don't mind, you know, if someone made me have floppy tits and pulled me up, you know, and I was 80, I wouldn't care. If I had to be anything, I don't care. As long as they say things that ring true to me.
When you married, was this, to a certain extent, a search for security? I get the feeling that at the time you were insecure, and that perhaps it might have been a subconscious feeling for security, which you very quickly, as it were, grew up. You seem to have grown up in the space of the 3 years, tremendously quickly. Was your getting married and then the subsequent failure due really to the tremendous rate and growth of your whole development?
Yeah. I can't talk about it. You've said it. It's incredible you know all that about me. It is true. That is true. I was frightened. Very frightened of everything, and of being involved in these things. I didn't fit in. I felt that very badly. I don't anymore. I don't care. But then I felt as if I didn't fit in. People were uncomfortable when I was around. This wasn't my scene. And I loved him very much, and he was my first love. And you know, we'd had another life, because in Cambridge, when I was at school and he was at Cambridge, and we didn't think it would happen. We didn't know what was going to happen. So.
You see, the danger, or perhaps not danger, but the pitfall I see in what you just said is the possibility that an experience like that at quite a tender age could make one rather cynical.
Yeah, well, it could. But it's something that you've got to see and not do. You know? Like I realized that. I realized, you better watch it, dear, you're going to be cynical soon.
Yes.
You know, which is really pointless to be cynical. Why waste time being cynical? Everyone looks through the back, you know.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't matter what happened there. And things get better. Things really have got so. I mean, the political situation of the country, you know, but sort of people have got much more less concerned with things that don't really matter, like you know, even images and all that sort of thing.
You feel, therefore, do you, that life for you, to a great extent, has been a series of relationships, some better and some worse, and inasmuch as your marriage was concerned, it was a very worthwhile experience.
Well, it was really worthwhile because we got this really groovy child who we both need very much, and who I guess needs us, I hope. And we can get a lot from each other still, but we can't be married.
But you don't feel you've opted out? You see, I'm thinking that some women would be jealous of your ability, I see it as an ability, to opt out and say, well, I can still have this, but I want more. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yes, well, yeah, I see, and exactly what I did. I realized there was this marriage, this thing called marriage. I knew a lot about it because of my own parents, but I still wanted to see if I could make it. I really thought I could. Honestly, when I did it, I thought, I will do this. And then I really changed so much, and now I don't think marriage is a sin at all. You know, I don't want to get married again. I can't see the point of all the. It's such a miserable thing. It makes people so miserable unless they're of that sort, which you were saying. That, I mean, both people have to subordinate themselves. You know, it's not a question of the all-powerful man. You know, the men go through as many indignities as the women in the whole contract nasty. You know, all you need is love.
Yes.
No, but it's true. If you're happy with somebody, be with them while you're happy. And when you're not happy, split. And it's the best way for everybody and for the child. And people say, you know, for the child, you stay together. Personally, I know what a bad scene it's for the child. And it's just not, you know, children can see through sham marriages like no one thinks they can. And it doesn't, they're not fooled. And they get really funny about it.
You see, this is independence. It's youth talking, but clearly you're not the sort of person who is the least bit concerned as to what your life will be like when you're 30 or when you're 35 or 40. But undoubtedly, back of a lot of people's minds when they do get married and they do settle down, is of having somebody there, the security of knowing whatever else the world may do to them, however hard and however bloody it might become, there is one person there who they can hold on to, and they say, whatever else may crumble, at least I have this person, and I've put a large portion of my life into getting this person to understand me and me understand them.
And then when they're 40, that person turns back and goes and gets a chick who's 18 and goes out, and the wife is writing letters to the Lonely Hearts column. You know, all you can rely on is yourself. The only way you can have that kind of security is when you say, the world can do what it likes to me, people can do what they like to me, lovers can do what they like to me, anybody can do what they like to me, but my head's cool.
Except, just right, except for those awful moments moments, and you must have them because
Oh,
every living
sure.
person does, when suddenly the world is hostile, when suddenly you wake up one morning and you literally don't want to get out of bed, and you feel that you can't face the world because the strength that you had the day before seems to have gone.
Well, then you've got to go back to sleep and dream and
Yeah.
go into another world. You see, there are lots of worlds. I mean, people just think this is the only one there is. And if this world is hanging you up, go off into another one. You can. I mean, it sounds very fey and, you know, I don't want to nonsense. But it is possible if people could remember how to do it, and they really have forgotten. You know, you can transcend all these things in your own mind, and you can't always take people you love with you. You can't, because people have their own... When you think what's in your mind, it's incredible.
But don't you think it gets harder? I mean, clearly, as you become a commercial property, which, well, let's face it, one just does when one is in this
business.
business.
But, you know, it just doesn't. There is a choice. I'm sure there's a choice, you know. You don't have to become a commercial property. There's a way of turning this whole business around completely.
But what I'm saying is that as these pressures clearly pile up on one, Miss Faithfull, you're wanted for a photo call on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Miss Faithfull, we have a recording session on Friday afternoon, 2:30. You've got to get in your car, you've got to get there, you get home feeling tired, you've got to get up next morning early for some other business. I mean, clearly, just the pressure of staying with it and of advancing one's career and of meeting hard, often very commercially minded people, it surely must get harder to dream.
Yeah, really, very, very, very hard. But it's terribly, terribly important to fight those people with the same way they fight you. These people like producers that squeeze you like you're an orange and throw you when you're dry. You know, it's like the jungle. You know, kill or be killed. I'm sure this is the thing. And you've got to get in first. I find the best thing to do is to keep them very busy. If you just keep them very busy, they don't bother you because they're doing things. They don't have time to give me things to do.
But are you ever afraid that you might pin your hopes on a false star? In other words, if you met somebody who you thought was tremendously professional and who could offer you something very vital and interesting career-wise, and that afterwards you might look back and find that it was a ghastly mistake. I mean, let's face it, Three Sisters could have been a disaster, couldn't it?
Well, yeah.
Is this the excitement for you, really?
Yes, it doesn't matter what the star turns out to be, as long as you've got a star, you know? As long as there's something you're going towards.